The Little Mermaid Part 1. Once upon a time, deep under the sparkling blue sea, lived a mermaid princess with the most beautiful voice anyone had ever heard. Her name was Oceana, and she was the most favorite mermaid princess in the Sea Kingdom. Her skin was soft and radiant, her hair long and lustrous, and her eyes were as blue as the deep sea. She had no legs, as she was a mermaid. Instead, she had a beautiful fishtail, like all mermaids do. Mermaids are basically half fish and half human, gentle creatures that live deep in the sea, in a kingdom of their own. Oceana lived in a beautiful kingdom too, with her father, her 4 elder sisters, and her grandmother. She had many friends, and Scuttle the crab in particular was her most trusted teacher and friend. Oceana would play all day in her water palace with her friends and sisters, and in the evenings they would all gather around her grandmother, who would tell them all about the mysterious world of humans who lived above the surface of the sea. The human world is very different from ours, grandmother would tell them. They have no fishtail, but instead a pair of legs with which they can stand, walk, dance, and run on land. Humans have built wonderful things with their hands and machines, which make their life much easier. But they can also be selfish and dangerous, with little care and concern for the natural environment. Look how much they have polluted our sea, all their dirt and waste seeping into our kingdom, exclaimed grandmother sorrowfully. I know that your father has promised you girls that you may visit the human world once you are 18 years old, but mind you, be very, very careful. And for God's sake, do not, I repeat, do not make friends with any human when you're there. Oceana, however, couldn't stop dreaming of the day when she would be free to visit the human world. I can't wait for my 18th birthday, she thought to herself, when I will finally be able to swim ashore all on my own and experience the enchanting magic of the mysterious human world. And so, the days and years passed as though in a dream, till finally it was her 18th birthday. And as her father, the king, wished her a happy birthday and asked her what present she wanted, there was Oceana's chance. Father, I have waited for this day for so long, she said, and as you had promised me, and as my sisters got the chance to visit the human kingdom, today is my turn. Please give me a blessing and I'll be on my way. Now Oceana was the king's favorite daughter, and she was the youngest. Her father was not very happy to let her go all on her own into the unknown human world. But a promise was a promise, and so he gave her his blessing and bid her a happy adventure, with the only condition that Scuttle the crab would keep a close eye on her, only to ensure that she was safe at all times. That was it. She kissed everyone goodbye, Grandma and her 4 sisters and friends, and whoosh, she swam, with Scuttle close behind her. Wait for me, he called out to her several times. But there was no stopping Oceana now. She was going ashore. Human world, here I come, she squealed with joy and excitement. It was a glorious morning. The sun had never looked brighter. The waves made gentle ripples around her, and she watched a flock of birds fly right past her towards a large, glimmering object. A human ship, she thought, remembering the many wrecked ships that she had come across at the bottom of the sea over the years, and the little treasures from within them that she had collected, which were the main reason for her fascination with the human world in the first place. She swam as close as she could till she could almost touch the ship to have a better look. She was fascinated with the hustle and bustle happening inside, with the crew preparing for what looked like a grand party. Amid all the fun and frolic, her eyes were drawn to the center of the ship, at one human in particular. He was handsome and had the kindest eyes she had ever seen. As she swam and bobbed about on the surface of the water, observing everything and missing nothing, she kept swimming back close to the ship all through the day, enchanted by the ship and the activity inside it. Towards the evening, as she watched them sing and dance, a fierce storm began, and the ship started bobbing violently on the water. It tossed and turned, and amid the chaos, the handsome man was thrown overboard into the deep sea in his attempt to rescue the crew. Oceana wasted no time. She dived into the water, swam hurriedly towards him, and with all her might pulled him up and carried him ashore. As she placed him on land, she realized that he was unconscious. "Oh dear, what can I do?" she thought to herself. "I don't know how to help him. Oh God, please let him live," she hoped desperately. In her nervous helplessness, she began to sing, softly humming to the kind human, hoping that her melodious voice would give him the strength to open his eyes. And it did. In a few moments, he began to stir and slowly opened his eyes. Oceana was relieved and overjoyed, but she couldn't let him see her. She wasn't human after all. She quickly hid behind a rock, her heart pounding with a strange feeling. She watched as the guards from the royal palace came looking for him to take him home. They ran towards him, relieved that he was safe and alive. "Come along, Prince. We are here to take you home, where you may rest and feel better soon," they said to him. The prince got up and began looking around. "Where is the angel with the enchanting voice?" the prince asked. "She saved my life." "There is no one here, Prince," the guards replied. "We must get you back to the palace. The king and queen are worried about you." As they led him back to the palace, Oceana dived back into the sea. She suddenly realized that she had fallen in love with the prince. Back in her underwater palace, she couldn't stop thinking about him. Her sisters tried to cheer her up with interesting stories of underwater life, but all she could say was, "Oh, how I wish I could be human, to dance with the prince under the warm sun and be with him forever and ever." Well, that's all for part 1. Do tune in to the Listener's Nest to find out what happens next. This story is written by Hans Christian Andersen and read by Zia Kontrak.